Welcome to my tutorial for Spartan X2. This is actually Kung Fu 2. This was only released in Japan, but you can see I'm playing the translated version. The only real main difference with this version is I think some of the text is translated and the title screen was changed to say Kung Fu 2. But this is it was called Spartan X2 and it was only released in Japan. This is actually the sequel to Kung Fu. Though I actually prefer the original much more than this, but this is a solid. It's a little bit more modernized than the original Kung Fu, but I like the challenge of the first one better, and I like the way it played better. But this one actually has similar moves and movement to the original. You'll see a lot of the same moves, like you have your kicks, you have your sweeping kicks, punches, and there's also a charge punch, like uppercut type of move, and I only used it in one part of the game. And this is going to be a pretty damn loose tutorial, meaning this is just me beating the game. It took me about 31 minutes to beat it. This time around, I beat the game many years ago on emulation. But this was my second time beating it years later, so I totally forgot how to play. But I had seen some videos before jumping back into it. So I wasn't going in completely blind. But this is not refined at all, but the bosses are pretty damn easy most of the time. As you can see, I just jumped into this guy and kept kicking him, and he just died, and I didn't even take any damage. And I think that was the second time I got to him. I think I didn't have much life when I got to him the first time. You have unlimited continues, so you can try the levels again and again. It seems to be unlimited continues. So the game is really, as you can see, it's maybe 12 minutes long with deaths edited out. So it's a very short game. Kind of similar to the original Kung Fu in that regard as well. But, it's a pretty solid game. I still think the classic original played better. It was a little tighter. Maybe I'm just used to it, though, but I also like the challenge of the original. This was too easy. You could easily do a no-death run on this game with a little practice. Mainly on the bosses. The bosses might take a little practice just to get a consistent method down, but very easy. For this type of game, of course. I know some people are not familiar with, older style games, so for some people this may be difficult, but for a game of this era, very, very easy. So yeah, I figured I would do a tutorial on this since it's a short game anyway. This is, like I said, a very loose tutorial. I didn't refine any of my any segments. There's no refining at all in this tutorial. It's just I just edited the deaths out of my regular playthrough, my blind playthrough, and then I just just adding commentary over that. So this is just a very quick tutorial. I mean, you can see for that guy, all I really did was jump kick toward him and maybe sweep kick him a few times, but I just aggressively kept trying to jump kick him pretty much. That works for a lot of the bosses. Sometimes you want to use regular kicks and you can get them in a corner and just kick the shit out of them, like the first boss. So it's kind of a mix. The last two bosses, I played them extremely fucking sloppy, so I have don't really have any good tips for that. So, like I said, very loose tutorial. But there is one part that would be worth explaining. There's a tricky part that I didn't know what to do at first, so I'll explain that. So yeah, there's these crates that are in your way. You can just kick them twice and they'll break off. You can pretty much just kick everybody in this stage. You don't really have to use jump attacks. You got a lot of health too, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, which says player. The rocket launcher guys, I don't even think they can shoot low, so all you have to do with those guys is duck and wait for the bullets to pass. For this guy, all I did was I kind of got him in his corner and I just kept kicking him pretty much. I mixed up the jump kicks with the regular kicks, but I took no damage on that one as well. I think I died on him once, but when I did beat him, it was very, very easy, which is jump kicks and regular kicks. There really wasn't much of a strategy at all, just very aggressive. The boss of this stage is actually two bosses, but both of them are extremely easy, so it shouldn't give you too much trouble. For the jetpack guys, you may want to jump kick them when they get close. I think that's the best way to deal with them, probably. And you get a checkpoint as soon as you drop down into the inside the plane. If you waste to continue, you may have to restart at the beginning of the stage, but you'll see this, these stages are very short, so it doesn't really make that much of a difference. So yeah, now when you're inside, I mean, you pretty much only have to watch out for these gorillas that come out of the trap doors. Those are the main issue. I try to jump over them, but they usually end up grabbing me anyway, but towards the end I was able to get a health replenishment, which helped. And I think I got it because I kicked the gorilla. So maybe if you sweep kick the gorillas when they come out, you can kill them and get items. That might be the way to get that health. I didn't use a sweep kick, but that might be more effective at trying to hit them than a regular kick. And now for this gorilla boss, all I did was, again, just jump kick toward him. Basically, that was about all I was really hitting him with was jump kicks. Occasionally I think I get some kicks in, but it's mainly just jump kicking toward him, and then I may do a few kicks. And he'll just hit into my attacks. I don't even know if this guy hit me. But maybe I took a little damage. But I mean, you could see what I did was very simple and it worked. So there was really no real strategy for this. Very simple. And now the trainer will come down, and he's trickier, but I played it very sloppy with just jump kicking towards him, doing kicks, again like I did with the ape. And I'm sure I could have waited for him to whip and then attacked him, but I was just being real aggressive, and it worked. So if you are having trouble, you may want to wait for his whip attack to complete and then go in for a jump kick. You can try doing that. But as you can see, I didn't even need to do that. So I think I may have beaten both of those bosses the first time I got to them. So very easy. So for those shield guys, you just got to kick the shield twice, I think, and it'll destroy their shield that they're holding up. You can go through. For the swinging guys, you just want to duck, and then when they're done swinging, they're going to drop down from wherever they finish swinging from. When they drop down, just hit them with a regular attack at that point. There are handgun enemies that mostly shoot up high, but I think sometimes they will do low shots. For this part, I just jump across. Yeah, I just keep jumping. And I do take a little damage from those shurikens from the ninjas, but I didn't even end up fighting the ninjas. I just jump all the way to the right until they disappear. And that I take almost no damage doing that. I think I took 1 piece of health damage or something. So it's effective. That's the handgun guy. They take about 2 hits to defeat. You want to duck for their high shots and maybe jump for the low shots. This is probably the hardest boss. Yeah, this is definitely the hardest boss. It was a little tricky. I think I barely beat it on this attempt, but you either have to, duck the high shots and maybe try to jump the low shots, but she shoots twice in a row, so I found it hard to jump over the low shots. So instead of trying to dodge the shots, I just went real aggressive with the jump kicks again, and eventually I broke through. I was just mixing jump kicks with regular kicks, which is what I pretty much do for most all the bosses in the game. So as I said, I don't have great strategies for the bosses. Most of them were very, very easy, except for that one boss. But you should be able to break through doing that eventually. And you can also use save and load states to practice more efficiently, which is what I recommend for challenging parts. So for this part, you saw I kicked all the green enemies as they dropped down from that hole. And I just kicked them all, and then I walked past the spike traps, the crushing spikes. And I stand here on the end. And now this is a hard part if you don't know what to do. What I did was I charge up my uppercut move. As soon as these guys come down, I release the uppercut and walk forward immediately. I kind of got pushed back that time, but the idea is to get in that gap and get all the way to the end of the platform and get behind them. Otherwise, they'll push you to the other end into the pit. It's ridiculous. I did the same thing here with the uppercut. I had the uppercut ready, and I used it to hit those guys as they were coming down, those green guys, and then walk through immediately, get behind them. If you don't do it that way, you'll get pushed to the end of the platform and just die. It's extremely cheap. I don't know how else you're supposed to play that. That's the only time in the game that I actually use the charge uppercut. The way you do it is you hold down and crouch until you flash, and then you press the punch button while holding down. You'll do an uppercut. And I use that only for that part, only that section of the game, those 2 parts. This is very easy. You move very slow underwater, but all you have to do is just jump kick your way through here. And then after you do that, you're going to be at the final boss. I think I may have died once on the final boss. And all I did for the final boss was a very similar strategy of just jump kicking him. I think I only jump kicked this guy. Maybe I tried to trip him a little bit, but I think I really only connected with the jump kicks. I was just aggressive with jump kicks. The control is a little awkward because you press up to jump in this game, just like in Kung Fu. And that makes the controls a little bit awkward when trying to do jump kicks. But all I did was aggressively jump kick him. And I did, almost die, as you can see, but I got through. So I'm sure there's better ways to play all these bosses. And I recommend using save and load states to really practice them and get them down. But this was just a loose tutorial. So hopefully it helps a little bit. It should help with that part where those green enemies are dropping down through that opening. If you don't do that uppercut and then walk through immediately when they're first starting to fall and get to the back of that train cart, you end up getting pushed all the way to the end and killed. And it happens in both parts where they fall down near the end where I was explaining it. So just be aware of that. And if you're not sure, watch exactly what I did on that part. What I'm doing, like I said, is I charge the uppercut so I hit the first two guys that fall as soon as they're falling down. And then I walk all the way to the right and get behind them. So that, I'm behind where they're falling and I can defend myself that way and survive. Let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for watching.